I'm Gianni Bifolchi, Research Manager and also Unit Director at SpecialEurasia. Today, I want to review with you TraceLabs OSINT Virtual Machine, which is an operating system that you can run on a virtual machine and to guarantee your security and safety to perform open source intelligence activities. First of all, what is virtualization and why it matters in open source intelligence? Virtualization is a fundamental technique for enhancing operational security efficiency and scalability in digital investigation. What does it mean? This means that we are going to create a virtual environment like a virtual machine, like personal computer or laptop or tablet, when we can run operating system and or any kind of tools that are useful in our daily activities. Why this matters? This matters because, first of all, it guarantees security. If you download any kind of harmful files which has, for instance, malware or a virus, in this case, you are not downloading on your personal computer, your physical machine, but you're downloading in a virtual environment. So it's just enough that you reset this virtual environment, the operating system, or you bring the operating system to the original setting that you avoid any kind of a problem. You completely delete that kind of file, or also you can completely disinstall or delete the operating system and reinstall again. This is not possible for your personal computer because if you download the malware, what will happen is that you have to reset completely your operating system. And this means that you are going to lose a lot of file. And also imagine that if you are running an investigation, you download a file with a malware. This malware was created just to steal all your personal files. In this case, if you're running an operating system on a virtual machine, the malware cannot find any kind of personal file. There are different there are different virtual machine that you can use or not, but what I can suggest you, for instance, is to download the Oracle VirtualBox Manager. Oracle VirtualBox Manager, you just find if you write also on Google Virtual Machine Oracle or Virtual Machine download, and from the first result will be Oracle VirtualBox Manager. There are different virtual machine manager, and in our courses in open source intelligence, we are going also to check. But in this case, it's easier to download. After you go on the web page, you download the file. There is a file for Windows or for Apple Macintosh or for other operating system. And I suggest you also to download any kind of update and patch to allow your VirtualBox manager to perform efficiently. So as you can see, in this case, I've downloaded different operating system and I'm not going on to discover more about this, but today I want to investigate, analyze with you TraceLabs OSINT VM, which stands for virtual machine. This kind of operating system that we are going to see today is an operating system which was created for open source intelligence activities, and also TraceLabs is involved in activities like finding missing people or fighting any kind of crime on internet. So my suggestion is always to download the OVA file. What does it mean, OVA file? It's a file which was created and adapted for the box manager. This means that after you download the file, like in this case, it's just enough that you click a couple of times on the file and you will be redirected automatically to your VirtualBox manager, and you just find that you follow the installation procedure and you will have installed, as in this case, your operating system. Other operating system, they have their ISO file. This means that you should at least know a little bit how to install them on the virtual machine. It's nothing so complicated, but in this case, it's really everything. It's easy, it's automated, and it's just easy to do. So you click on download OVA file, and for you have two different release. One on GitHub for Windows mainly, and the second one also for Macintosh. So if we click on Windows, we'll be redirected here. The latest release was in December 2025. You can find on SpecialEurasia also a review that I personally wrote regarding TraceLabs OSINT virtual machine. And there are two different versions. The complete version, as you can see here, of between 5 and 6 gigabyte, or a small version of 1.63 gigabyte. So there is a distinction here. And my suggestion is if you're a beginner, if you never download this, you never work on we are operating system of virtual machine. You don't know perfectly well Linux, Debian, or also you're not familiar with any kind of tools or software on Python. Just download the 1.63 gigabyte version because it is really essential but easy to use and can provide you interesting tools. But I also invite you after you will become familiar with TraceLabs OSINT VM. Then, if you want, you can download the 5 or 6 gigabyte version. As you can see here, I have the complete version. In this case, is TraceLabs OSINT December 2025. I have, in this case, the smaller version of 1.63 gigabyte. Today, for the beginner, we are going just to see some elements of this kind of version. So what I have to do after I install it, I have just to click on start, and I will just run this operating system on my virtual machine. As you can see, after I click on run, there is a powering virtual machine hub, and there is also um, another, and the starting the operating system started, and we have a new Windows. So you should know and also be familiar by the fact that this operating system is based on Kali Linux, and Kali Linux is an operating system designed for cybersecurity, ethical hacking. So we have, first of all, our operating system running. So we have just to wait. At the beginning, you have to write the username and password, which is so simple. OSINT and OSINT. And you can find this information on the website of TraceLab. So after you write node in housing, this is the operating system. And you can click on view and you can put a scaled mode. In this case, you can decide also how the windows, if it should fits with your screen or not, it should be bigger or not, just for your normal activities. Then as you can see, this is a classical operating system. So we have some icons here, and we have also the menu. If you click on the menu, you can see that there are some specific sub-menu regarding open source intelligence activities. These are based on Kali Linux. Kali Linux has many apps, many tools, and many sub-menus. But in this case, for reconnaissance activities, you can download and install Maltico. Maltico is a software which perform a networking analysis for open source intelligence. Then we have a discovery here, and in this case also for the network, command control, exfiltration, and service and other tools. So, but without going deeper on knowing more regarding this operating system, also in some case, in some situation, you should be familiar with the Python code. My suggestion here is just that you have a view on Mozilla Firefox. They create a Mozilla Firefox just enough that you click on that. As you can see, you can just skip this step because remember, every time you work in all these activities, you should protect yourself. And if you sign in a browser, you can expose yourself. So what is important? As you can see here, we have the bookmarks, and we have all the bookmarks. In this case, the creator of TraceLabs, they decided to put some bookmarks which are useful for investigating and looking for information and sources regarding companies, regarding internet scan like DNS or Bruhis, email search, phone number, people, maps and geography, to search like we here there are different search engine and also to look and to search for video, picture or images, data, or specific information regarding the country. So do you have a search engine for China, for Sweden, Japan, Slovenia, and so on, also for Russia like Yandex? Social media tools, social networks. In this case, these are social networks where you can sign or try to sign with a socket puppet with an alias or fake identity. You to check the username. These are some collection. These are broad search tools that you can find on specific website. So why I really suggest this kind of operating system for beginner in the field of open source intelligence. First of all, because it's easy to download and install. You don't need to master computer programming on computer science. Secondly, because even though you just want to use the Mozilla Firefox, in this case, using Mozilla Firefox allow you to have a selection of different tools and the bookmarks of tools regarding OSINT. This doesn't mean that this selection of tools is complete or can support completely your activities, but it's a good starting point at least. So after that, what I suggest you also you to have a look to Obsidian. Here, Obsidian, here you can click launch anyway. Obsidian is a software that you can use to um, collect information, to write notes, and it's. I'm not going in deeper on Obsidian because you can find different tutorial, and also I will show you how it's possible to use Obsidian for open source intelligence. And in our courses, we show to our participants and students. But what you should know that Obsidian is a beautiful tool for registering your sources and also collecting the information. So apart from that, there are some. And there is a manual field for TraceLabs OSINT that I suggest you to click and read. And there is also TL, there is also like other information that you can find. So just going around, try to experience, try to get familiar with TraceLabs OSINT virtual machine. So this is important because thanks to the virtualization, you can protect yourself and you can also guarantee security operations. But pay attention by the fact that in this case you protect yourself by downloading any kind of threatening file or file with malware or virus. But if you want to protect your identity surfing on internet, I suggest, of course, to use a VPN, a different VPN. There's also the opportunity or possibility to download a VPN to run on Trace Labs, and it's simple. If you have any kind of a membership or if you pay for a VPN, then you can also try to download here and then run here, or you can run the VPN basically from your physical machine. So this is Trace Labs. And this is an overview of how it's easy to download it, to run it. And my suggestion is just to use the smaller version if you are not familiar with the world of operating system running on a virtual machine. Last but not the least, if you want to discover more about the field of open source intelligence, I suggest you to just to contact us and to get information to participate in our WebInt and open source intelligence course that we organize in the one-to-one formula, or we organize for a small group of people belonging to different companies, think tanks. In this course, we provide the theoretical approaches but also the practical approaches to the world of open source intelligence and web intelligence. And we focus not only on the tools, not only on operating system, but also to methodology that you can use for any kind of open source intelligence activities. So thanks again to be with us. I wish you to have a good day and let's stay in touch and see you for the next video regarding open source intelligence world.